Good evening, and welcome back to a Fireside Chat with Zany Mystic. I'm your host, Lance White. Tonight, I'm delighted to have Jessica Mystic as my guest. Jessica came to my attention through the wonderful video interview done by Project Camelot, titled, A Crystal Child Speaks Out. Jessica is a spiritual counselor and mentor. She is also a self-described fairy godmother who travels all over the world looking for fellow star family. She empowers them by letting them know that they are not alone in how they think and see the world. She also helps others remember why they incarnated on the planet at this time. She connects them with others of like mind who have similar missions. Many of us here today are starseed, indigo, crystal, and many other labels, which simply means we're here to help in our own unique ways. So let's welcome Jessica to the show now and get to find out more. Hi, Jessica. How are you?
Hi, Lance. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Well, I'm curious how you got the name. I'm just going to just start out with your name. How did you get the name Mystic?
Well, that was actually when I was trying to figure out an email address for myself, and I was about 14 at the time, or 15, and the word popped in my head, mystic, and I didn't really know what it meant at that time. I thought it meant mysterious, and it sounded really cool, so yeah. I went with it, and little did I know that I was going to become a mystic, or it was something destined. It's really funny how that works, and
yes, and
the fairy godmother. Pardon?
I love that.
And the fairy godmother. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I just also, the other title, the fairy godmother, is just kind of when you come into your oneness and your infinite nature, your potential. It's almost like you're a child on Halloween and you're told you can be anything you want. And you're like, anything? Even a purple giraffe? And so a fairy godmother, I feel, is really liberating right now for a lot of people, particularly because I have a strong desire to just nurture the planet, motherly, even to my own mother.
Wonderful. And, of course, we both share the same last name, Mystic, so we're in the same family.
That's right.
Okay. For the listeners who might not know as much about indigos and crystals and starseed and walk-ins and the rest of it, I thought maybe we could just talk for a little bit, briefly, about the differences and why this has been documented back now for decades, when it first started happening decades ago, and why we are here at this time.
Okay.
Is that a good starting place?
Yeah.
Because I think that the indigos came in first, didn't they?
Yes, they did. But, we can also, an indigo can also change into a crystal child as well. That's my own personal experience. I found that some indigos, they're the ones that are the system busters, and they incarnate with a little bit of a chip on their shoulder. They are also, I see, a lot in gangs as well. And that's just, a lot of their anger that they're working towards transmuting. And then once they do, then they go into this unconditional love state. Then they go into crystal, which is basically a merging and balancing of all the chakras.
Okay. And then, of
course,
I think, stars. Go ahead.
Oh, and I was just thinking about the older generation has been really key in anchoring a certain kind of light and frequency for the planet. It goes right into the core and then right out into the heavens, which is the language of light, which allows the younger souls to incarnate with a lot more conscious memory, not so much in the amnesia veil, and a lot more empowered. It's like the whole of humanity is working as a collective team by each experience that we choose to have. But I just really admire the older generation because, they didn't have internet or things like that. So in a time when it was very taboo, they had to hold this kind of thinking. So I think that's really awesome.
Yes. There's one person in particular, Gerardus, who's in my Yahoo group, and he's in his, I think, 70s, maybe even 80s now, and he awakened about 50 years ago.
Yeah, it's because the people like that were allowed to be on this planet at this time.
Yes, it's quite an honor and a privilege. Now, there are some special abilities that may or may not arise with those labels as well. Is that accurate as you awaken?
Oh, absolutely. Because, it's really interesting because it's very normal in the nature world. It's only paranormal for us. Um, so it's our birthright. We were born with these special abilities as well, but we never have them really nurtured. And so they get suppressed right away, and we get taught, to be very afraid of it as well, because we incarnate with this not very good idea of self and who we are,
Absolutely. Absolutely right. And then, of course, there's so many beliefs and taboos. Well, I mean, just a matter of 100 or 200 years ago, they were burning witches at the stake. So there hasn't been much acceptance or tolerance for those who see or think or feel or intuit outside the box.
Yeah, most people have had to hide it and be really clever about how, the best way to hide it and still be true to themselves as well.
There was a movie by Spielberg called Contact, and I think that kind of sums up. I mean, that kind of gives you a really good idea of what a crystal child might be like. With the intuitive abilities and just the knowingness and the wisdom. And she was just a little girl, and she also developed some special abilities during the movie. But it was a really good movie for learning about all of this.
It's always just the tip of the iceberg, though. I mean, we're just getting the introduction as to what we're in store for with these new children. It's very important as working as a guide. We, in the 60s, we found that we had to give information and insight a little at a time. Otherwise, they would end up in mental institutions. So it's very important to just have stepping stones, to not be attached to any one belief over the other, so that, they could not be in a box, and so they can feel their infinite nature without, and also being able to live on this planet at this time as well. The balance of the, spirit and matter, grounded and also cosmic.
I know that many of them feel that they want to go home and they don't want to be here, and and yet at the soul level, we do choose our incarnations, wouldn't you say? At least
yes.
This one. And that we're also guided from that other side by our higher self, or our guides, or whatever you want to call it, our team, to do what we're here to do. Can you elaborate a little bit on what this time period signifies for you and for many of us? It's the end of an age, isn't it? Or the beginning of beginning of a new level of evolution.
Before I get into that, I just wanted to make a quick comment about what you said about a lot of people feeling very homesick right now. I really understand how much how hard it is for you to be here, and how much you want to how much you want to go home as well. But I want you to know that you guys were brought here to bring heaven to earth. Think of you guys as being on a tree, and you're an apple, and you fall to the ground. Now, that apple cannot go back on the branch, cannot go back home, but it can become home. Inside you is the seeds, to bring everything from home here as you create your roots here. So,
That's beautiful.
And this change, where we're at right now, what it means to me, well, it's very, very exciting time to be alive. I mean, the challenges we're facing right now, which seems to be incredibly scary, is also great opportunity for us to rise to the occasion and to alchemy, like I shared in my interview about becoming thinking we're a piece of coal, and then through the heat and the pressure, which can be the Illuminati or anything that brings discord, into becoming a diamond, or, a plant with fertilizer, becoming a, really beautiful flower.